evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into this. Let me stop. My name is Tashana, okay? My name is Tashana Pilar Hewley. Don't even call me Shauna no more. Call me Tashana. Say, nah, I'm playing. Hey, y'all, happy Monday. I hope all is well. I hope y'all are holding it down. Of course, we know we've been covering the periodic table. You don't have to wait for me to study it. You can go ahead and do your thing. So far, we've done the 4 basic, the ones that are fundamental to at least 96% of living things on the planet, right? That's oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen, right? So we're going to get into the other 4, but we have a couple of other things we're going to discuss. The whole energy about the molestation and the pedophilia, we're going to get to that, but I'm trying to make sure that the way I say it, I don't offend nobody, and I want to be informative and not judgmental, or I don't want to come off as being judgmental when I'm only trying to be informative, okay? But today we are going to talk about hygiene. Now, a lot of people think that being hygienic is just like taking a shower and stuff like that. And although it is, there are other layers, right? When you speak of being hygienic, you need to throw the spiritual aspect of your hygiene in there as well. It's not just your physical body, right? Now, there is a difference between being sanitary and being hygienic, obviously, right? Being sanitary is making sure the environment is clean, right? And disease free. And then hygiene is when you actively engage in things to keep yourself from becoming sick, catching a disease, or spreading a disease, right? So this is washing, brushing your teeth, even getting sleep is a part of hygiene, spiritual hygiene, right? Because if you're not well rested, you can't think clearly. And sometimes your downloads will be distorted. You start hallucinating, you get cranky. So let's just take a look. Now, as you know, if you've been following me on any platform, then you know that I have been having these messages about the greater good and being of the higher level of consciousness for a few years now, right? This is not really anything new. The podcast may be fairly new to the conversation, but just the overall of me putting the message of positivity and seeking God and having a relationship with God, none of that stuff is new. And I'm so sorry if it's any noise in the background. But what I mean by this is that there are layers to being hygienic, and although I have had this discussion with several people, it's appropriate for the podcast because, again, I follow other spiritual leaders. Like, I'm new to spreading the word to like multiple people at once other than like my Facebook or my Instagram, right? There are people who are way more tapped in than me, right? They have way more experience dealing with the spiritual world. They have way more experience dealing with their spiritual gifts, and they have way more experience in communicating their messages using their gifts to the masses, right? The majority. There is a woman who's a prophet, and I'm not going to go into it. I actually forgot her name. I've seen her speak before, but I found a YouTube video of her basically just speaking about a revelation that she had received a few years ago in regards to viruses. Now, I've been telling everybody to get themselves together spiritually, start practicing fasting, start working out. You want to be able to run for 20 minutes if you have to at a certain speed. You want to be able to go a whole day or two without eating if need be. You want to know how to grow your own food. You want to know how to fight and ward off different bacteria and diseases. And this is in the spirit and in the physical. You have to go to her sermon because it was like 2 hours long. But the main thing that I pulled out of that is what I've been speaking is the hygienic aspects of our spiritual selves and physically, and how that's going to keep us alive later. Like, fasting is not just you going through the day without eating. Fasting is abstaining from food and or water for a certain amount of time, and in place of the nutrients from the food, your spirit is fed with the word of God. Whether it's gospel music, whether you're reading scriptures from the Bible, whether you're reading surahs from the Quran, whether you're praying, whether you're sitting out in nature in the park, like, fasting is not just abstaining, right? From food, drink, alcohol, sex, smoking, whatever, the game. You're not even supposed to technically spend money when you're fasting. You can technically break your fast when you spend money, when you get upset, when you say a curse word, when you engage in certain things, right? So being spiritually hygienic doesn't only mean one thing. And it doesn't mean that you have to get to that place one way. You can literally figure it out, whatever makes you the most comfortable, whatever makes the most sense to you. That's how you could start your journey. There's like so many ways to skin a cat. But when it comes to being hygienic, obviously in the physical, it's standard, right? You want to bathe, you want to brush your teeth, you want to wash your clothes, you want to sanitize your area, keep your house clean, clean your floors, In a COVID world, in a post-COVID world, people may be more conscientious of doorknobs and light switches and remote controls and phones and keys and things like that. I'm sorry. But in all reality, we have our own upbringings and our own understandings of what it means to be hygienic also, right? So if you haven't been taught to have a relationship with the Creator, then it's not really expected. I'm sorry, I keep being interrupted, and I don't want to lose my train of thought. But so what I was saying was that if you don't have that type of relationship or that knowing, right, then it's going to be really hard for you to even understand why certain things are even important. And I mean, when you look at certain customs, different cultures and religions, there are a lot of different hygienic processes that are associated with prayer and just a religion overall. Now, what I do know to be true is that the cleaner you are, the more easier it is for you to flow, right? So whether that's in your head space, whether that's in your physical space, you have a lot more room to move around in, and you have a lot more to work with when you are hygienic and sanitary. Now, I don't come from like a dirty family, right? So I don't really understand the thinking, or let me paraphrase that, because I have grown up in a house with some dirty people, but I was raised to be sanitary and hygienic, right? Although there are some forms of fasting that don't require you to bathe or brush your teeth, this is different, right? We're speaking in terms of building your relationship with the Creator and just the overall concept of taking care of yourself. God wants you to be healthy and clean. He doesn't want you to be nasty. In fact, you're not going to get any messages or anything like that from anyone that is of significance, or at least you won't be able to freely flow with things unless they are in a certain order. And being clean and hygienic is just one of those things that you want to be able to maintain. You know, that saying, cleanliness is next to godliness, is a saying for a reason. A lot of people don't realize that being dirty, being unsanitary, and being non-hygienic, like whether it's your body or your environment, right? These are ways that the devil can come in. This is where jinns reside. When you have a bunch of dirt, this is where evil spirits dwell, and filth. And that's your body or your physical place, right? So I don't want anyone to feel like, you have to be something other than who you are. Be someone like, no, really, really understand that you being clean has everything to do with your ability to receive information from the creator. And this could be downloads, messages, warnings, instructions, whatever it is that you're supposed to be getting. When you allow yourself to be cleansed, not only do demons and spirits have a harder time penetrating, they don't have anywhere to rest if they were to penetrate. So let's just say you were attacked by a demon or your home was infiltrated by a bad spirit. If it's a clean place, and when I say clean, I mean prayed over and disinfected and filled with love and good high vibrational positive energy, these energies don't have anywhere to rest because it's not a vibrational match for what it is, right? So if you have this entity that's operating at a negative 15, it can't latch itself on to you if you're vibrating, because you yourself are vibrating at a particular level when you're clean. Your house is at a particular level when it's clean. Everything vibes at a higher level when it's been cleansed. Again, this can be a physical cleaning or a spiritual cleaning. Whatever you consider that to be, do that. And again, this I actually heard hygiene as a topic for Sunday. For yesterday. But I realized why the creator didn't have me have this conversation until after I watched the video. That part of the video that I seen was for me, but the part of being hygienic was for me to discuss for the podcast. Remember, I said it was a 2-hour segment, right? She had a lot of information that was really mainly for prophets and people who are, of God, and they have a certain purpose. So that's why I know how I was able, or what rather was to be separated from my own personal, takeaway, and then what I was going to use for the podcast, because it was also confirmation, okay, I need you to go into this. So we need to stay, the routines we had with COVID, we need to stay on that. Don't slack off, don't get lazy, still wash up, still wipe your doorknobs, stay in the habit of doing these hygienic routines. So when this virus that's set to come that she was speaking of, I'm not prophesying anything right now. Everything I say on this podcast is to be taken back to the creator. It comes from the creator through me, and you as a listener, as a part of the audience, are supposed to, or you're at least expected to go back to the creator, or at least do your own research, right? Because some of these things, right, we always find a way to relate it to the spiritual world, but a lot of this stuff is science that's totally Googleable, right? But we do make the connection to the spirit world because that's what this is all about. Ultimately, you don't want to be the one being attacked, or being left behind because you're ignorant, right? Because you're not in the know. Overall, this is just about being hygienic, whether you're keeping your place clean, keeping your body clean, your hair, your teeth, your skin, your bed sheets, your clothes, because bad spirits dwell. They love bad, dirty linen and dirty clothing. They love it. And dirty floors and dirty handles. These energies can hop around. These are bad spirits that you need to keep in check. At a later date, you'll understand why being hygienic was so important. But just for the sake of time and the sake of not even getting into that right now, your hygiene is important for you to receive anything from the creator, whether it's in your spirit or whether it's in your spiritual aspect of yourself, the physical, whatever that may be. To receive, you need to be cleansed. You can't bring anything good or useful in for you in filth, okay? But I'm gonna leave it here. I do love y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed y'all weekend. I hope y'all drink y'all water and ate y'all fruit and y'all vegetables and sipped y'all tea, because it's free. And I hope y'all are enjoying y'all summer and getting ready to go school shopping again. All right, I love y'all.